What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Zach and Pat Show. I'm Zach.
I'm Pat.
This is the show about manhood, fatherhood, entrepreneurship, and the mentality it takes to be successful at those things. And I'm sure we're going to sprinkle in some helpful real estate advice every now and again. You know, life can be tough, and we can lose our identities and struggle at times. This is the podcast to let you know that you are not alone. So if you're someone out there who's going through one of these things, this is the show for you. What's up, dude?
What's going on, man?
Oh, not much. Just a end of the week, Friday. It's been a busy week. I feel like I've had a lot going on. You know, a couple new buyers I'm going to be working with that are coming up here soon. We're kind of got in the works.
Yeah.
Got a couple listings that are going to be coming on.
We need those.
Yeah, I'm
people
excited.
List your houses.
Yeah, we've got got several houses, like I was saying before, kind of in that inspection limbo right now. We're still in inspection negotiations. I got, a couple of them I'm representing the buyer, a couple of them I'm representing the seller. So that's just kind of got me on the edge of my seat. You know, I'm constantly waiting for responses
But enjoy it because it's not going to last for that much longer. You know, soak it in.
Yeah, soak it in. Now that I'm having to figure out, all right, I guess we'll repair this leaking sink for you. It's just, man, I would always suggest for anybody out there, if you're going through your negotiations, when you're going to buy or sell a house, man, the easiest way, especially if you're the buyer, request financial compensation versus having the seller do the repairs.
Right.
Because I've just seen firsthand, sellers are always going to do this, as cheaply and as shitty as possible. Just to all right, well, you told us to fix the window,
right,
or whatever it is. And we go there and we go and look at it. And we're for example, I had this deal, and this was probably 2 months ago now, but I was representing the seller. The buyer, they wanted a million things fixed. One of them was, we wanted a new furnace. We were trying to the furnace was fine and working, but it was old.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, no, we want a new one. We want a new one. That's the only way we'll continue to move forward with this deal is if you replace the furnace. Just fuck. Okay. And then we started negotiating back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Here, it's going to cost this much. And my seller was like, psh, I can get it done for half that price. I think it was $4,000 credit. I was like, that's a cheap furnace. That's for this size house, that's, pretty good size, pretty good price, I thought.
Right.
My seller was like, I could do it for $2,500. I'm like, okay. And then, of course, 2 days before closing at the final walkthrough, It just looks I could go in there and tell you this isn't right. There's so many things that were wrong. Of course, the buyer had their people out. Ended up costing my seller an extra $2,000 or something to get it. I think she ended up crediting her $2,000, so she ended up paying more than if she would have done it in the first place. Just done the credit. Just so much easier to solve things monetarily.
Money solves problems.
Yeah, dude. It's just
just throw money at it.
It's just such a much easier way for things to be done, just because you know that if you're the buyer and you're asking them to repair, they're just going to do it as cheaply as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, you get the credit. It's saving you on what you're having to come in with at closing, keeping that in your pocket. And it's, in my end, I would always, take the money.
100%. Take the money and
take
run,
the money,
as whoever said, and that's all.
Yeah, exactly. unless you're already maxed out at that point, but there's ways that you can use those funds.
True. I mean, you could always reduce the purchase price.
Right.
You can always, seller credits are always a great option, but
the ones that are we want to reduce the sales price. I'm like,
I know it doesn't really,
it doesn't
help you today. It helps you.
It's not dollar per dollar savings, you're coming in with a percentage of what it is that you're saving. So unless it's a significant reduction in price, which would never happen, it doesn't make sense. Take the credit
all day.
Mm-hmm. So, well, good. We need listings and it's. I'm excited though. It seems like it's starting to pick up.
It is, man. I've got several that are kind of on the horizon that I'm excited about. A couple of them are big boys.
That's awesome.
Two of them are two really, really big listings that I'd be very, very excited. It would be both of them would top my biggest list prices ever.
That's awesome.
So I mean, the one would top my current biggest, and the one that's off in the distance even more than that would top that one.
Yeah,
break that 7-figure.
Very cool.
7-figure price point, which I've never listed $1 million house yet. So that would be my first one. This will be my first one of these. If these people end up deciding to sell, they're kind of on the fence right now.
You're going to be the new host of $1 Million Listing St. Louis.
Yeah, whenever Selling Sunset comes to St. Louis.
Selling Sunset Hills.
Yeah, Selling Sunset Hills. Me and Murph actually talked about doing a like a
parody.
Well, honestly, dude, we should do that. We could totally do like a parody like video for like, and do like Selling Sunset Hills, but make it like kind of Hoosier, like, like even though Sunset Hills isn't like a, do like just
go to Oakville.
Yeah, go to Oakville or South County or like Jefferson County and like go hang out in Arnold, or something. I mean, I love Arnold. I'm not talking shit, but it would be funny to do like a.
Take them down to Flam City down there.
Take them to Kimmswick.
Kimmswick, even better.
That'd be hilarious.
Get yourself some apple butter or what do they call it? The
Mile High apple pie.
That shit's good though.
Oh, dude,
it's so good.
Dude, that shit's amazing. It's like this tall.
It's like a foot tall.
It is. It's fucking awesome. But I think it would be such a funny. We were talking about doing like a parody episode, like for like one of our funny videos. I think it'd be a good idea.
That'd be a blast.
It'd be so fun. We just got to come up with some good ideas. So, hey, if you're out there and you think of any funny ideas for a spoof on Selling Sunset for our,
here in St.
us
Louis.
hick-ass Missouri people,
us Oakville Hoosiers, let us know.
Show up in my big lifted truck. The monster can in a dip circle in my back pocket.
There you go, I whip out the old cowboy boots that I bought with the signing bonus.
Yeah.
Got a bottle of ranch in the back pocket.
A bottle of ranch. Yeah, dude.
Oh, man. So, we've come up with some pretty good ideas for that stuff, though.
Yeah, we needed it. So we were going to do as we were talking, we were going to do a Valentine's Day one, but I think we kind of missed the boat on that.
Yeah.
Considering you're going out of town this weekend.
Yeah, got Disney World coming up with the kids.
Yeah,
excited
dude.
about
Excited?
That. Yes and no. Being the business that we're in, I've got a great support team behind me that I know will handle everything, but at the same time, it's like
there's that saying in our industry, bro.
Yeah.
If you want to get busy, go out of town.
Exactly.
And that's been fucking true every single time for me.
So I'm hoping that's the case. And I know my team's equipped to handle it, so that's great. I just, the coming back to what I missed is all playing catch up is always.
Dude, that's first couple days.
It's rough.
It's like a fucking
and then,
storm.
Right. And then trying to squeeze everything in before leaving so everything's ready to rock and roll at the time that it needs to be. That's always a pain, but you got to do it. It has to get done. So you long hours, long days up into it. And then you get the, I guess you can call it relaxing at Disney World, running around chasing a 4 and 5 year old.
That doesn't seem like mine. That's the farthest thing from relaxing. Yeah. Fucking standing in lines and
I'm hoping because we're going now at beating like spring break. I feel like
it's not. It's not hopefully like the prime
as
time.
crazy. Yeah, hopefully it's really not as crazy. So
6 weeks from now, when it's like spring break time, like mid-March, I feel like it would be wild, and then like all through the summer, you're fucked.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. It's like I'm going with my parents, my ex-wife, her boyfriend, the kids. So ex-wife and her boyfriend are doing 75 hard. I just started the training and on an 8-week challenge with my coach for nutrition and all that. So it's like I think that's going to be the hardest part for not just for me, but for those two as well, trying to get those workouts
getting
in.
to her. At least you'll have people there to like hold you accountable.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, whatever they're doing is worse than what you're doing.
Yeah. Right. So I'm going to probably go hit up CrossFit Magic Kingdom, I think
really?
That's what it's called.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
I think I'm going to go try that out.
Sweet.
See what it's like. See what it's like.
That's cool, dude. It's like I've gone to 1 or 2 CrossFit gyms other than Achieve. And it's just cool to like, it always makes me like, I mean, and it's the same thing for jiu-jitsu, but like anytime I've traveled and gone somewhere else, I feel like I'm always like, makes me realize what I got at home.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's probly sick down there.
Maybe
but
down there with Donald Duck and Mickey doing CrossFit.
Burpee. Yeah, I feel like doing burpees. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck. I mean, but it just always makes me super thankful of what I got at home. Like any of the, like, actually, it's funny. We were actually talking about that this morning at jiu-jitsu. And like, so one thing at my jiu-jitsu school that I go to is that's really cool compared to a lot of other places. A lot of other places make you do these like really silly warm-ups where you're like running around the mat and like do cartwheels, forward rolls. Like it's like a warm-up, but like, man, what I really like about they don't do any of that. We just get right to doing jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And it's like, because my coach's philosophy is like, all right, if you want to warm up, get there early. Like, you got an hour with me. I want to
make the most of it.
Yeah. If you got an hour to do jiu-jitsu, I want you, because it's like us running around the mat. That's not jiu-jitsu. No. Like I want us to actually spend the time, drilling or doing whatever, or, actually doing jiu-jitsu. And I love that philosophy, because anytime, like I just went to somewhere when I was in Florida this past summer, like, spent like 15, 20 minutes of the hour class, like, just, doing push-ups and like, like doing jumping jacks and stupid fucking shit. And we're just like, like, let's just get to going. What are we working on today? Right. Like, are we, like, I just want to drill, I want to actually, we've got an hour. It's an hour long class. I want to spend it actually doing what I came here to do.
Yeah. That's kind of like how I am with my baseball practices. We have an hour and a half on Saturdays and an hour on Mondays. Like, get there, be ready, so we can make the most of that time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in like CrossFit, we do a warm up too, but I feel like that's different because it's always like a warm up specific to what we're working on that day. Like if it's like a heavy shoulder day or something, we're doing like shoulder stretches to like warm up, and we're doing, I feel like you need to break that sweat before you like blast into one of these like workouts, because otherwise you're just going to get hurt.
I mean, that's just like, that's different. That's like the warm ups that you do is a little mini workout
for sure.
Itself, just
100%.
100%. So,
especially like brand new people I see come in, they're like, like huffing and puffing. And we're like, whoa, we're just getting started.
Oh yeah. Shit, like today we
oh yeah, the workouts you did today, I definitely cherry picked that one. I was like, do I want to do that, or do I want to go to jiu-jitsu? Because like that one looks pretty fucking shitty.
Yeah. Well, like we had to sit there, and it doesn't sound like much, but you're holding for like the warm up, you're holding a 10-pound plate in a squat position for 30 seconds. Like, my shoulders were like, hey, Pat.
Yeah. Hey, Pat. Hey, buddy.
Oh, you guys are still there.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, hey.
Forgot about you muscles for a second.
He's hurt.
So, but yeah, no, I mean.
Your first full week there. How's it been?
Awesome. Loved it. Right? Yeah. It's great workouts. I love like the actual strength side of it, like actually lifting the weights. It's a good mix of strength training as well as cardio, high intensity stuff. And, today was more like a cardio. Yeah. Fucking
lots of it.
Yeah. 24 minutes straight
of
it. But no, it was great. And like when I was looking at the workout when I registered or like signed up to take the class, I was like, fuck, this is going to suck. But
when you're done with it, you're like, man,
dude, when I got done with it, I'm like, dude, I can do anything today.
100%. Nothing I can do. Nothing now is gonna be harder than that.
Right. Yeah. It was tough.
24 minutes of burpees and calories on the rower and sit-ups.
Yeah. And the worst part was the sit-ups after you do a minute straight of row, a minute straight of burpees.
Yeah.
You get down and start doing sit-ups. You're like, oh, this is going to be easy. And you start moving and like, oh shit, I'm already out of breath. Oh shoot, I'm cramping in my stomach. Like, oh shit. So.
Well, and here's the thing. Whenever I see burpees on a workout, I've kind of made this a statement at my gym that's like kind of my thing that I'm really good at.
Yeah.
And so like now I have to like, I can't fucking slack. If burpees come up, like everybody's going to call me out.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, when I was getting ready for that competition, back in September, I was in arguably the best shape I think I'd ever been in, because I was doing this programming from this black belt. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt, college wrestler. He's like made it pretty far in the CrossFit games, and he's also a cop. Like he's they literally like they call him Cap. His nickname at jiu-jitsu is Captain America, because he looks like the dude who plays Captain America.
Okay,
he's like 220 with abs, like 6'1", like he's a fucking monster. And anyway, he programmed this brutal like workout that I followed for like, I think it was like 6 or 8 weeks, or no, like 7 or 8 weeks. And, every week it went up by a burpee every week. And one of them was, it was a 16-minute EMOM, max calorie burpee rest. So 8 rounds, max calorie max burp, or he always gave me a certain amount of burpees to do. Started out at 16, and through the 8 weeks, we made it all the way up to started in like 18 or 19. But anyway, I remember we ended up at 26 burpees a minute.
Oh shit!
And I was able to hold that pace for 8 minutes.
Yeah, I think the RX today was 13.
Yeah, but like I do burpees really fast, and it's the one thing I'm decent at. But it's not like a fun thing to be good at.
No, as right. Well, and as a taller, longer, bigger guy,
right? You got to get a lot to get up and down.
Moving,
With jiu-jitsu, I spend so much time like going up and down,
right?
Like getting off the floor.
Yeah.
So like that's like something I've gotten really fast at.
Yeah.
And it's just, but it sucks because like today they would have like expected me to do like, oh come on, you're doing 19 today, you know, like fuck. The rower, I suck at the rower. I'm not good at
See that I'm fine with that.
Really?
You've got the length and all that. It's a lot easier to generate power and strength and burn calories being bigger or taller.
Yeah.
So
for sure. Like because you have so much power. Like I think I've heard once that like the calories that are going up are like the power. I'm sorry, are the calories are like the power, and then like the faster you do it, you're gonna do more meters.
Right.
I guess. So like depends on what the goal is for the workout, because some of the workouts are like, you know, get to 200 meters like we did on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like row 200 meters, and then like today it was max calories. So it's just like kind of a little differently. I mean, even though it's like a hard thing to like gauge. I'm just going as hard. I'm just going hard, you know? Like I just got a on and off switch. I don't exactly have a dial sometimes,
just
you know?
Go.
Yeah. And
Oh.
It's fun. It's I'm glad you're there, and I think it's just another thing we can kind of do together.
Yeah. And it'll be fun trying to mix that in while being out of town and
for sure
getting to see
when do you leave? Sunday or Saturday?
Sunday.
So are you going tomorrow?
No, I've got the boys tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, I was debating if I'm going to go or not.
Yeah, so no, I've got the boys, so I won't be able to make it tomorrow, and I'm not bringing them to the gym. They would try and do the stuff with us and be in everybody's way.
She's got I don't know if you saw it.
7 or 8 year old.
Is that what it
I
is?
think is what it is.
Yeah, no, she's got like a kids thing.
Yeah.
So,
one day,
in a couple of years, that'd be cool. Like I definitely would love to get Calvin into that. You know, that's something I'm looking forward to as a dad. Like really getting. I mean, I hope he likes the same kind of stuff I like, but I mean, I just have a feeling he will. He already
you just bring him around.
Bring him around.
Shoot, in Atomic Habits. What was that thing about the chess family?
Yeah,
exactly. If you're surrounding them by it and they're seeing that you're enjoying it, I mean, it's gonna be in them.
I mean, I had him on a mat. You know, every Saturday, me and a bunch of my buddies, we all go and train together at one of my friends in town from the gym owns a roofing company.
Okay. And
just, I think it was kind of toward the end of COVID. His son's like a really good high school wrestler. Now he I think he just graduated high school this past year. So now he's like, would be a freshman in college. And, but he coaches high school wrestling now. He's a really good wrestler in high school. And he got a bunch of mats, and so he like matted out this whole corner of his warehouse.
That's awesome.
And so like me and we've all got the code to the code, and then we can all just kind of basically Andy's got like an assault bike in there. He's got like weights. He's gonna turn it into like a gym.
Yeah.
But anyway, we go there every like Saturday morning, and we've been doing this since 2020.
Okay.
And we were training at one of our buddies' houses, and then eventually moved to Larry's warehouse. But we go there pretty much every Saturday. And
that'd be a sweet name for the gym, Larry's Warehouse.
Larry's Warehouse. Well, the name of his company is Happy Roofing. So if you're looking for a stellar roofing company in St. Louis, Happy Roofing is the fucking shit. They're awesome.
Shout out Larry.
Shout out to Larry. He's my boy. Literally, he's actually going to look at a house for me right now.
Nice.
Dude, that motherfucker. He trained for 2 years with a torn labrum and a torn bicep.
No shit.
Just got surgery like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was just asking him. He's like, dude, I'm starting to feel a lot better. Like my movement, like my range of motion, my mobility is like starting to get a lot better. And yeah, dude. Because I mean, dude, as long as I can remember, it's been at least 2 years. He's been complaining. He's not complaining. He just this is like Larry when you're rolling with him.
Yeah.
And then he'll just like,
that's a whole nother
I'm good.
And
then
degree
like
of mental toughness.
Bro, he trained for 2. Well, his doctor said, I think he told me his doctor said that he probably tore the labrum first and then compensating tore the bicep. But dude, he trained jiu-jitsu probably 4 or 5 days a week with us for like awesome. 2 years with a fucking torn everything in his arm. Like, dude, he's a badass. He's just like one of the fucking nicest dudes I've ever met.
Yeah.
And like, dude, dude give you a shirt off his back. He's a fucking great guy.
That's awesome.
I'd love to get him on here eventually. And but anyway, where was I going with that?
Oh, we were
talking about us training on Saturdays
with Calvin.
Oh yeah. I used to bring him, but when Calvin was still in the seat, or in the car seat, and pretty much just sleeping the whole time. But I would like bring him and like set him on the corner of the mat, and and he would just lay there and watch us train for an hour, and then and he would just lay there because he would lay there and sleep. But now he's at the age where
he's just mobile. He's mobile now.
Yeah, he's mobile. He's running around. He'd be in the fucking roofing nails or something, it's because it's a roofing warehouse. So there's like shit everywhere, except for like the little jiu-jitsu area. But dude, he's got a big spot in there. I mean, he's like expanded it and we can get like 5 groups in there comfortably. That's awesome. Which is sweet.
That's pretty cool.
It's been a lot of fun. It's cool because we've been training together since the beginning of 2020. Like when everything shut down and all the gyms shut down, we were like group chat of us. We're like, so we training or what, guys? And like, I had mats in my garage. My friend Nate, he had mats in his basement, and so we'd like go between Nate's house and my basement, and then eventually Larry got the place at his gym or at his warehouse, and then we all just started going there. And but yeah, we've been doing that since 2020. We're doing 3 or 4 days a week all through the pandemic and everything. But honestly, I always say that that's like a time where I for sure like leveled up significantly because I was still a white belt at the time, but I was training with all these guys that were like high level blue belts and purple belts, and
it's only gonna make you better.
And I just got my fucking ass kicked for 4 months straight, basically. Yeah. But then when I showed back up to the gym and rolled with the other white belts, I felt like a fucking demon, and it was awesome. But that was definitely an area, like a time where I just like leveled up significantly because I was like, I'm getting beat up this whole time. Like every once in a while I'll do something good on one of these guys and it would like fucking make my day.
Right. Well, I mean, it's same for me on the baseball side, off season training. We a bunch of us would go out to Earth City where Rams Park was and be out there and, big league guys were there, all this stuff. And not so much like it's watching the way they approached their training and how they went about it as a true professional at the highest level that you could possibly be at. You're only going to get better being surrounding yourself with those people. Oh, so it was awesome. Like just the guys that they had there. I mean, some of them like, they would get there working and then they'd have fun, like chasing those aerobie frisbees around. Yeah. That's how they would get their conditioning in. But yeah, I mean, we had a whole fucking indoor football field to ourselves.
It's just crazy how if you surround yourself with, the people that are successful like that, how it rubs off on you. Like that's one thing. Sure. At Watson's that we do the jiu-jitsu gym, like right now we got this tournament and we got next weekend and we've like got like been getting ready as a team, and like the big difference between training there and anywhere else I've ever trained is like Kyle's very good at like we're developing a game plan. Like you're making your game plan. You need to like, all right, from the feet, what is your take? What is your A-B takedown? All right. Well, like what is your best takedown? Like, all right, well, if I hit that one, then what next? All right. So you got the guy on his back. Like, what are you doing now? Like, what does this takedown lead you into? A good guard pass. All right. Well, if I pass his guard, all right. Well, he's either going to do this, he's going to turn away, or he's going to turn into me. All right. Well, now I guess if he turns into me, my option's this. If he turns away, I'm taking his back. Like he would like develop this game plan around, and it's just like has helped me like mentally, like just I've up my game so much, and it's just not a way I'd ever thought about it before, and it's just really really cool to be a part of, and it's just
because what belt is he?
Black belt.
Yeah,
so he's a third degree jiu-jitsu black belt. Yeah.
He's teaching you how he goes about his training, and you're that's awesome.
There's so many there's 3 world champions, 4 world champions in St. Louis that I train with and stuff.
That's awesome.
Nick Sanders, Amanda, Matt Green, the guy who I was telling you about. I think that's. I don't know if Kyle's ever won world. I mean, Kyle's won a lot of high level tournaments. I mean, there's just so many great people that are like that I train with regularly that remind me how fucking not good I am at this.
Well, and I would think that would be a great thing for you going into a competition to just roll with them.
Oh, 100%. Like I roll with my my coach Trevor. I actually was just talking to him today. I want to get him on. He's a nutrition coach and really really cool guy. But he's he's a good friend of mine, and I've trained with him a lot because we always say we're like basically the same. Like we have very similar builds, and except for he just throws me around like I'm a fucking sack of potatoes. Like that dude is just so strong, and he's so technical and so good at what he does. And I never even get an inch on him. Like I've never done anything good to him. Like it's like I'm just 100% defense pretty much the whole time we roll. But I train with him all the time, and like training with him has definitely made me way better because like especially when I was getting ready for that match a while back that I was telling you about. I got trained with him like 2 or 3 days a week pretty much, and him and I would pretty much just drill for like the first like 30, 40 minutes of our open mat and on Mondays and Wednesdays, and it just, it made me a lot better because then I'd roll with guys like in my rank and stuff, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm used to Trevor beating my ass. Like this is nothing,
right?
Just kind of what you get used to,
right? And if by some chance, someone at your level gets you into a where you have to play defense.
Yeah, I'm used to getting out from him, or attempting to get out from him.
Exactly, exactly, and it's just probably going to be much easier and get out of it like no problem.
Right.
So,
yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, I'm competing next weekend, and we'll see how it goes.
I'm excited for you, man.
I'm ready.
Awesome.
So we got these Benjamin Franklin's 13 virtues, 13 life virtues. So we thought this would be kind of an interesting thing for us to go through here. First one is temperance.
Eat not to dullness, drink not to elevation. So this day we all know that overindulging in food or drink is not a good idea. So the first virtue is critical because it makes the other virtues possible. Allows the body and the mind to function at optimal levels, and lack of it would make it impossible to uphold the rest. So yeah, I mean, it's, taking your health seriously. I mean, and as someone who has recently taken that step and really tracking what I'm eating, drinking, putting in my body, like the amount of energy.
How's that making you feel?
Dude, the amount of energy I have. Now, granted, we've increased the amount of intake. So I get like, I'm just like still getting used to eating as much as I'm having to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And the hardest part is like being like, I'm full. Like the other night, was like, I was pacing myself and like had my meals all planned out heading into, I thinking I had an early hockey game on Wednesday. It turned out we had the late game. So I had to change my plan around at night, and I was going to save my last meal for after hockey. But instead I ate it before because it wound up being the later game. And then I'm like, shit. All right. I got
hungry now.
Well, no, I was like, I'm saving my snack for afterwards. But then I went back and I'm like, all right. So it was like it was cottage cheese mixed with 2 cups of yogurt plus granola and 2 scoops of protein powder. I mean, that bowl was huge. I'm sitting there just like, oh, I hate my life.
Yeah, like just throwing it down,
right.
Getting that protein.
Yeah, but but it's what's needed to keep your body in a fat burning state, and but no, I feel way more energized, way more alert and awake, and it's been great. And so leading into this is just, or going into and relating it to this. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just you need to take care of yourself so you can be the best version of yourself elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, dude, I couldn't agree more. This is I mean, I think you said it. So that was the first one. Next one is silence.
Mm-hmm.
Speak not, but what may benefit others, avoiding trifling conversation.
Mm-hmm. So no gossiping.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't have a problem gossiping, but I like to talk. I mean,
here we are.
Here
we are. We're literally talking.
Yeah,
it's kind of the entertainment factor here. But
exactly. So but it's almost like what's the saying? It's better to be silent and have people assume you're dumb instead of opening your mouth and removing all doubt.
Yeah.
Type thing.
And like you got the two ears and one mouth for a reason.
Yeah.
Thing.
Exactly. And so. Franklin was a great orator, and he loved to speak and get his ideas out. Soon he understood that he wasn't learning anything from those around him by continuing doing so. So he added the virtue of silence so that he could practice listening. That's the thing is like listen to understand, not listen to respond. So that was one of those, like, that was the thing that one of the biggest things I had to learn, especially like through the divorce and all that. So like, you know, you have different aspects, you know, different reasons for why you're going through a divorce, and people go in different directions and different paths, and having to understand that, not just like listening to my ex-wife and her listening to me and being able to have those conversations where we weren't interrupting each other, but understanding why we were at a point where we were at, and then being able to maturely have a conversation to move on from it. And we weren't listening. Like, I wasn't sitting there listening to just come back and beat her up about her decision. And she wasn't, you know, she was listening to understand and not just to respond to beat me up about where I was at. So, and I think that's important for any relationship, you know?
Oh, dude, I definitely agree.
So
I recently, I think Gina's gotten frustrated with me a couple times recently, but honey, I just want to understand and make sure she'll like tell me something, and I've had this bad habit of in the past of just like, yeah, for sure, and like didn't really register everything that she said.
Right.
And then there's a couple times now where I've done that, and then I caught myself. I'm like, wait, tell me it again. You know, like she's like, oh, and then she'll like say it like I am stupid. I'm like, honey, I'm just want you to just tell it to me, and I will understand. Like, I just want to make sure that I fully understand what's going on here, because I have this bad habit of like
zoning
hearing something, or like she says it to me while I'm reading an email or like something like that, and then I'll just be like, yeah, Calvin's getting picked up at 3. You know, I have to pick him up at 3. Yep. And then or whatever it is, and then she'll say something. I'm like, yeah, and then wait, what do I need to do again? You know, and then like she gets really upset, but I'm like, man, I just need to make sure Maybe I just need to understand better the first time, but then because she's getting frustrated. But I'm acknowledging that, like, hey, I fucked up.
Right.
I didn't know what you actually meant. Like,
right. But that, it just goes back to like giving full concentration to what's being said to you at the time. I mean, our job is constantly pulling us in different directions. It's very easy.
Dude, that whack-a-mole analogy is like fucking
it's
my
very
life.
easy to get pulled in different directions. But it's like in those moments to be present to that, to whoever it is that's talking to you, to give them the respect and all that. But you know, at the same time, the person that you're talking to, hey, listen, I'm sorry, I have so much going on right now. I zoned out. Can you repeat that for me?
Please,
So yeah.
Thank you. All right. Number 3, order. Let all your things have their places. Let each part of your business have its time.
So being organized.
Yeah. That's definitely something I could do a lot better on.
Yeah. I mean, that's my biggest thing that I learned was organizing my schedule, kind of what we were just talking about. You know, it's very easy to have the whack-a-mole scenario. And I think we've talked about this on previous podcasts and episodes, but sticking to your schedule. Like, hey, you know what? This is something that needs immediate attention versus something that this needs later attention. And so you can be present and focused and be organized and have that organization in your schedule, but not just that, but in your life as a whole, because, you know, it's going to help you move forward and ultimately be better at what it is that you're doing in life.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's definitely areas of my life I'm much more organized than others. Like my work and like my work schedule, I've gotten pretty good at keeping that organized, but then there's other things that I definitely let slide or could be much better on. Like, I'm sure if you go in my closet right now, it's a fucking mess. Right. One area I would say I'm pretty good about keeping clean keeping organized is my truck. I really that's the one area, like, I'll let a couple things slide for a day or two, but then it never lasts more than that before I'm like clearing stuff out and like getting it kind of looking fresh and clean again.
Yeah, because as soon as you start letting one thing go, it's going to bleed into other 100%. Things, and that's what you don't want.
Dude, and there's something weird, like it's like a mental clarity thing almost, dude.
Right.
Like I spent, like I said, this past weekend, or we had a bunch of work done over here, and these guys are working at my house, and I just like, for one weekend, I didn't have a ton of shit going on. So I was like, my garage, I'm sure you've probably seen it, was a fucking mess.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent like several hours just like literally clearing everything out of there and like got it like all organized and looking good. And like afterwards, I felt so like
relaxed.
You know, like, oh my God. Yeah. Like I open up the garage when I get home now and I'm like, oh, look at this. It's like everything's all lined up and everything has its place now. And just like made me feel at ease. And it was like, I
Right.
just felt good. And I was like, all right, well, I think I need a little bit more of that in my life for sure.
Yeah.
And you kind of get on a roll when you're doing that shit too. At least I do. I'm like,
Oh,
all right, what do
absolutely.
I need to fucking clean next? You know? I'm on a fucking roll, baby.
As we head into spring cleaning time.
Yeah. Oh man, I've never been the best proponent of that. I need
Me
to
either.
definitely be better.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
So,
All right, next one. Resolution. Resolve to perform what you ought. Perform without fail what you resolve.
in simple terms,
God, dude.
this means to act upon what you set your mind to. Talk is cheap. Action leads to achievements. I mean, a lot of this ties into what we were talking about in our book club, with with habits.
For
Like,
sure.
the chapter where it's saying, just do.
Yeah.
Just
fucking show up.
yeah.
Just do it. I think I reposted that reel actually this morning.
Yeah.
About how, it was just like, man, everybody sucks when they first start.
Mm-hmm.
Just get out there, start moving, take those steps in the right direction. If you want to be a blank, what's that first step? Reverse engineer it, try to figure out like what you need to do to get started and just start making the moves, man.
Yeah.
As simple as it is, I mean, obviously I'm making it sound simple, but like you just need to get out there and start taking the steps to be that person that you want to be.
Right. Like you can make a plan, but just don't let it stay a plan. Put action to it.
Put action to it.
Yeah.
Just like show up. If you want to play baseball, you want to start jujitsu, you want to get in the gym, like you want to,
yeah,
invest in real estate. You want to do all these things. Like, all right, well, what's the first step?
Right. I mean,
You know?
yeah. Again, I hate to keep talking about it, but going back to the working out and the training and then the eating, like I just jumped at it. Just started doing it
after it.
Yeah.
Like here you are.
I'm not
Here
great
you
at
are.
it. I'm not gonna be great at it, but eventually I will be.
Yeah, for sure. And dude, here's the thing about that shit is like, dude, in 3 months from now, like you're gonna be in completely different like shape physically than you are like right. Like you're gonna be doing all these workouts. You're gonna get used to all these movements. Like, 'cause there's so many like weird, goofy movements in CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
Like like you just do all these like box jumps and like all these like things that you probably haven't done in a long time. And it's like you just kind of eventually you're like, all right, you just kind of becomes the norm and you get used to it. And obviously there's shit that sucks a lot more than others.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I've noticed that especially since you're doing really good on your diet too, that's going to help significantly. Cause man, there's days where I fucking eat really well and I feel like a fucking animal in the gym. And then there's like, I could tell like if I fucked off the night before, like last night, like, I did that carnivore diet for like the whole month of January. And so I'm still kind of like fucking, and I need to stop like riding that. Like, oh, I just dieted for a month straight and was really strict. Now I'm just going to fuck off for a couple,
Right.
Like last night we went out and Gina wanted some, she wanted, I just don't want to eat what we have in the house. Like, will you pick something up? And I'm like, okay. Like, how's pad thai sound? Like, fuck yeah, baby. I'm like, hell yeah. And
place is amazing.
Dude, it's so good. So I picked that up on my way home from the gym last night and housed, all that. And then today in the gym, I felt a little like, I felt a little sluggish, versus like if I would have eaten something much cleaner, I think I would have felt better. But
it kind of ties into that order virtue, keeping order in your diet.
Yeah.
You're allowed to slip every once in a while, but it is as long as it just doesn't continue to slip and slip and slip and slip.
100%, dude. All right, next one. Frugality. Make no expense, but to do good to others or yourself, i.e., waste nothing. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely be better about, and actually this is something I need to do. I've been meaning to do like the last like week or two, and I was going to do it yesterday and then I got sidetracked and didn't do it, but I wanted to like just relook at like my budget and like take a look at my expenses in the business for like the last 2 months and just like make sure there's no holes in the bucket. Like, is there anything I'm paying for that like I could just fucking get rid of?
Right.
Not using, because I'm sure there's probably something. There's some subscription I'm not using or something that I'm probably paying for that I'm not using, and I'm gonna do that tomorrow or tonight. And
everybody, you get that keeping up with the Joneses
100%
attitude, and you start living outside your means, and you start getting in trouble. I mean, shit. I see it on a daily basis with people when it comes to trying, with buying a house. People there's some people that have higher car payments than they do house payments.
And truck payments, because I'm sure that's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, truck. I mean, most cars now. I mean, before when I first got in the business, like you're thinking like $400 or $500 was high for a car payment. Now
that's like
that's cheap. You're looking at $800 to $1,000 on car payments, and you're like, oh.
I was so close a couple months ago to buying a new car, or new truck, a new car. I was looking at different shit. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing, dude? Like, do I need $1,000 truck payment?
Right.
Like, I don't. Like, this truck I have is fine. Like, it's great. And then I ended up just like getting new wheels and tires, and
right.
I ended up putting a couple grand into it, just like kind of make me re-fall in love with it.
Right.
Like I got new wheels and tires, got some new like nice seat covers, got the windows tinted. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna kind of like turn this truck into kind of what I want.
Yeah.
Paid off. Like, yeah, it's not ideal for like what I do for a living, considering I drive this like a big lifted truck, and I spend a lot of time like driving around town showing houses, but it's also like kind of my office. Like, I want to be comfortable in it. It's big. It's got like a lot of space. And the fact that I'm doing, the investment properties and stuff like that.
Helps.
Like, it's nice to have a truck if I need it.
Right.
Like, I mean, I've thought a lot about just getting like a cheap car to like kind of scoot around town, which, I mean, I'm still considering, but I was like, man, do I want to have a payment? Cause it's like, I'm not going to want to drive something that I'm not like proud to drive.
Right.
Cause I think there is something like that is to be said about pulling up in something you're proud of.
Right.
Especially like when I'm pulling up to $1 million listing or something. Like, I want to feel like I feel confident, showing up, and like, I'm not saying I need to drive like a fucking, crazy supercar or something, but just like something a little bit nicer would, make me just feel a little bit more confident about what I do.
Yeah.
And maybe that's an insecurity that I have. I don't know. But I was like, I just don't know what, I don't know. I couldn't figure out what I wanted. Yeah. And I was like, fucking, I love my truck. I think it looks cool. I'm going to keep driving it.
Yeah. Well, I'm in the same boat. Like, as soon as I get my car back out of the shop, I'm going to go trade it in. I mean, I got enough equity into it, and I had a 4Runner before, and I loved that.
Dude, that thing was sick.
I love that car. And so, and I love my car now. It's a badass car. Yeah, but
how long have you had that thing?
April of 21. So going on 3 years now. Wow. That's
because when I met you, you were driving the
4Runner. Yeah. So, but I got a great deal on this car. Obviously, like, I'm not one to go and spend a ton of money.
Yeah.
On things or fancy things like that. But like, this was like my first outside my houses and like the houses that I have and have bought. This was like my first real like luxury purchase, and yeah, it's cool. But after having it for a few years and the expenses that are going involved, it's just like,
you just get used to it.
Dude, it's like $500 to get an oil changed.
What?
Yeah. But I mean, it lasts for like 17,000 miles, but still, and I cracked windshield, $2,500 for a new windshield, and it had to come from the UK. I think cracked this thing
in German car, right?
English car. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it happened in July. As soon as I got back from the trip, I took it in, and they're like, all right, we'll get it ordered and all that. And I didn't have it until October. And now what happened with my car, going to that closing, you were there for that. Dude. The damn parking garage.
Yeah, but Pat was pulling out of his parking garage and hit his backup camera on the roof of the garage.
Took off part of my roof. But that happened last March. That happened last March, and I just was able, like, I turned it in.
I was gonna say, you like did all the shit, and
turned it in, and it finally got all the parts in that they needed, and then they're like, well, we're not taking any, Defenders until January of 24. So I'm like, well, what's the earliest that I can get it in? And luckily, it worked out perfectly because going out of town and I like rental car stuff and all that, so it worked out perfectly timing wise. So it should be ready when I get back from California. And I can just pick it up and go with it. And then, like I said, there's enough equity in it that I'm just going to turn around and I can get a 4Runner without a payment. And I'm just eliminating a whole car payment, which is going to be nice. So
that's the move, bro.
So
good call. All right, let's get on to our next one. Industry. Lose no time. Be always employed in something useful. Cut off all unnecessary actions.
So basically using your time wisely and cutting out activities that don't basically aren't moving you in a direction
100%
moving forward.
I was having first thing comes to my head for this, I guess business would be the first thing. Like, we can kind of apply this to all aspects of our life, I think. But the first one that comes to my head is I was just having a conversation with the guy I have on my team, and talking about kind of dollar producing activities versus like just busy work or like playing business or whatever you want to call it. Like he was, this is kind of his first week that he's like really getting after it and doing. I gave him like a big kind of list of things to do. And one of them was, I was like, dude, I want you to jump on this. I have this circle dialing program where you can pull up the phone numbers to a neighborhood, like pull up, find a listing that just sold, and probably ideally there would be good news that you would be excited to hear if a house down the street from you sold for this price or something. And call the neighborhood and let them know about the price, let them know what happened, and see if they know of anybody in the neighborhood looking to sell. Right. That's basically the script.
Yeah.
And he called me. He's like, dude, I just got a good lead. I'm like,
that's awesome.
I'm like, fuck. He's like, dude, I might have my first good lead. Yeah. I was like, dude, I want you to hit 500 dials all week. Yeah. You can get through about 100 dials an hour. So I'm like, dude, it's 5 hours of calling. Like that's right. It's a fair amount. But he called me this morning. He was like all pumped up.
That's awesome.
But I was like, dude, see, like this. I was like, this is a dollar producing activity for what we do for work. Like, yeah, I know, because he was like, man, I need to get like my LLC set up, and I need to get my business cards, and I need to get all the, I'm like, he's like, I was like, I mean, yes, you need to do those things.
Save that for later in the day.
I was like, bro, like let's get some business first. Right. Like let's get some money coming in the door right now. Because he said, I mean, I think he could technically still go back to his job, but I don't think he's like wanting to make money doing this. I'm like, well, bro, you need to, if that's your goal is to not go back to this job, then you need to do the dollar producing activities.
Right.
Like, you need to be making your calls, you need to be hosting open houses, you need to be doing all these things where you're getting to meet either property owners or people looking to buy real estate. Right. Buy, sell, or invest. You need to like be those are the people you need to be looking for and targeting those people and figuring out how you can help them.
Right.
And like that's the fastest thing to like put money in your pocket doing this business in this business. So like if you're wanting, to get some income coming in the door, like that's the best way to do it in this business.
Right.
So, yeah, I was like, so I think that kind of goes into this where you do spend your time usefully. Like you spend time doing dollar producing activities, or, if it's
anything that's going to improve you as a person,
right. Like going to the gym.
Yep.
Great. It's like the time really, I mean, the only really time that I guess I spend that are not like productive time, but I would even almost say it is productive time because it's like time that Gina and I actually hang out, and like kind of always been our thing is like we've always got shows we're watching or a movie, like we always just love watching movies and shows and stuff. So, I mean that's really the only time that I'm like, I wouldn't say like doing something like pretty productive.
I mean, it's just a different aspect of your life. You're filling up the bank with. I mean, what is the love language book call it? Your love bank.
Yeah.
You're filling up your love bank.
Filling up my love bank. Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, next one, sincerity. Use no hurtful deceit. Think innocently and justly. And if you speak accordingly. Fuck does that mean?
So, as he ran a newspaper for many years, Franklin understood the power of spreading rumors and manipulating the public through the news. Therefore, he set this virtue in his list to never forget, and speaking the truth and being honest are vital for a healthy society. Man, I feel like that needs to be like posted everywhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's especially like everything just seems so divided. And
I feel like it's just the nature of our society right now, with this election coming up and all these other things. And then like, you just never know what to believe. That's the hard thing about the media these days.
Oh yeah. Right. And that's the sad thing is you don't know what's true and what's not. And
well, what I do love is that, I mean, we are seeing the viewership significantly down on these big media platforms, like the big, whatever you want to call them, the ones that have been kind of, that people used to trust. And then, I mean, over the last couple of years, I think that people's faith in those companies has gone down significantly. And it's independent media, like, the big podcasts that are out there, like, your Joe Rogans, your Theo Vaughns, your Tucker Carlsons, your, you name it, whoever it is, whatever side of the aisle you're on. Those are what I think most people are gravitating towards, because I can't stand, whenever I watch any of that stuff, it's just the constant bombardment with ads and like their sponsors, and like they're being like kind of puppeteered, it seems,
Yeah.
you know, and what to say. They're
Right.
not actually saying what they truly believe. That's why I've never been a big like news watcher, but I've been a big podcast consumer for about a decade. And
Right.
that's my source of, and that's how I get all my news.
Right.
Either that or social media. But even going back to social media, like, you can't always believe everything
No.
you see on there, bro.
No.
You know?
But also, and then tying it into business, I mean, like just when you're sincere and it comes across that way, your business is going to flourish. You know, you're, you know, it's caring for people and taking their what they're wanting and their feelings into account for everything. I mean, really just in anything that you do, be sincere, have that like, hey, you know what? I want to help. I care about what you're going through. You know, what can I do to be there for you? How can I be there for you? Especially like business or personal life or anything. But just do it in a way that's honest, and do it in a way that's portraying that you care. And that's how I take this.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, I think if we had more people that were living life this way, we'd be in a much better place right now.
I agree.
So,
all right, justice.
all right.
Justice.
Wrong no one by doing injuries or omitting the benefits that are your duty. The way they spoke and wrote back then is
it's tough. It's tough. This virtue is present in almost all value systems around the world in history. It tells us to do the right thing by ourselves and by others. In other words, do not hurt people in any way and strive to help others when you are in a position to do so.
I feel like 7 and 8 kind of tie into one another.
Definitely.
You know? Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it just, treat like the golden rule, treat others the way you
want to be treated. Yep. I mean, that's kind of his moderation is our next one. Number 9.
Avoid extremes. Forbear resenting injuries so much as you think they deserve. All this virtue seems to be very similar to temperance. It expands the concept beyond food and drink. I think Franklin saw temperance as related to overeating and overdrinking as the most critical type of moderation, but to that end, he continued to advocate moderation in all aspects of life, as leading a harmonious existence would be the only way to live in a balanced life. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I think, you know, I feel like we kind of dove into this already when we were talking about temperance, because like I said, it's just food and drink, where we were tying it into pretty much everything, which is moderation. So
I think it's everything in life, man.
Yeah.
Like everything, you can overdo it on just about everything.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's very few things that I think everything you can overdo. Like even fitness, you can definitely overdo the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
I mean, we can definitely overeat. I mean, obviously food, drink, that's an easy one to, you know, kind of go over on. I mean, we can spend too much time working, and then our relationships are going to suffer. Like there's all these things that, you know, you got to figure out balance. I mean, it's easier said than done, but like figure the fuck out.
Same thing. It's like when people let fame get to their head or that power get to them, you know, it's, you know, tail it, nurse, bring it back a little bit, you know, you know, be almost like, what's the word that I'm trying to think of? Not, I'm trying, what's the opposite of being cocky? Humble. Yeah. Have humility. Humility is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so
you want to be humble. You know, do something really difficult all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like you find out that you're not anything.
Absolutely.
You know, that's why I think, you know, the stuff that we do helps so much with everything.
Yeah.
You know, all the hard workouts and stuff.
Right.
Just makes everything in life better, I think.
Agreed.
Cleanliness. Tolerate no uncleanliness in body, clothes, or habitation.
I think you've touched on this before about like how when you leave the house, like you never know who you're going to run into.
I rarely leave the house in sweats. Like if I am, it's like I'm just running to like the grocery store or something. But like even that, I feel like, God, I hope I don't run into somebody I know. You know, like I just always feel so much better if I'm sort of put together.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't ever want to like look disheveled or like someone who doesn't have it all together.
Right.
And I'm not saying like I show up everywhere in a suit, but like just a clean pair of jeans and a shirt that's not wrinkled, and I
Right.
feel like a normal person.
It's just taking respect in yourself and respecting what you have and where you're from and what you're coming from, and as well as respect for others. I mean, like I'll wear sweats when it comes to like doing physical activities, like going
100%.
to the gym or going to a baseball practice or a hockey game or something like that. But if I'm going out and about, like, then I'm gonna look nicer.
I'm gonna look the part, just like, Alex always said, dress for your part. I mean, when I was getting started in real estate, like dress for your price point, and I kind of take that into like just about everything else I do in life, like
right.
dress for the occasion, dress for the group of people you're around, like,
right.
But you've also said it never hurts to be the best dressed, and I could agree with that.
True. That's
true.
true.
You never look like a fool if you're the
No.
best dressed. So unless you're, I think in all cases that's true. So
yeah.
Next, tranquility. Be not disturbed at trifles or at accidents common or unavoidable. Self-control.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be, kind of that stoicism, that's the way I kind of like look at this, is like being able to, when you get upset, think about, what's going on versus like just reacting.
Right. Like the master of your feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
Being able to control that having that emotional intelligence and awareness. Things are going to happen in life that are going to frustrate you and make you upset. And it's how you react to them that is going to define who you are. And it's just one of those things, like if it's out of my control, like why am I going to waste energy being upset or mad about it? Like, yeah, it might frustrate me. Let yourself take a couple deep breaths. Yeah. Why is it frustrating you? Okay, well, somebody didn't do their job. Okay, well, going back like Jocko's extreme ownership, what could I have done so that person was prepared for it, and then take accountability for your actions and talk to that person if that didn't do their job to understand what happened. But you can't get upset or mad at somebody like that. So, yeah. I don't know. I take being like tranquility as just being calm.
Yeah, being
calm, a calm person,
not
calm, cool,
reacting. Like that's definitely something I could be better at sometimes, and I work on it for sure. But like, not all right. When something bad happened, all right, let's just think about it. What do we gotta do before we respond to this? Like, how do I want to respond? And like, I'm big on the box breaths.
Yeah.
4 second inhale, 4 second hold, 4 out,
hold,
4 hold.
Yep.
And I'll do a couple of those anytime I'm feeling a little
get that heart rate down and level everything out. But like, I mean, that's the thing too, is emotional intelligence should be taught. Like, it's not, that's something that you learn. And I think you're seeing it now more and more. Like, if you follow any parenting thing on social media, it's all about teaching your kids how to understand emotion, which is way different than how you and I were raised. Sure. Like, that wasn't something that was really taught, especially being men.
Yeah.
You're taught you're not allowed to have emotions. Well, that's bullshit, because we do.
Yeah.
And being told not to have emotions. Well, how are you going to learn how to handle those emotions? You're just going to bury them. That's no good either.
Yeah, man. So I feel like, I feel like my parents were always really, I never got like shunned for showing emotion. Like, I feel like my dad's I would say is like a pretty like emotionally intelligent guy, like he was always, real big on like talking about everything and stuff. So I definitely never had that like pressure of like, this is the way to be, we don't cry in this house. That was definitely not my dad.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess I'm thankful that I didn't grow up like that, but there are some qualities that I definitely, find that I'm and I've worked on this over the years, but like I bottle things up before I get, and I'll, I end up just exploding one day. So I have I feel like there's times where I get upset, I just get quiet, and I could be better about talking about that. But
I'm the same way. I kind of retreated myself, but at the same time, like I've honestly, since like I started going to therapy and talking with my therapist and having, absolutely. I've been going since going on 3 years now. And, we have these conversations. He's like, Pat, you know what to do. Like, this is all stuff like I learned with baseball. Like, you can't let your emotions get to you, because if you do, your whole performance is fucked. And so like this whole thing, like I give credit to, my pitching coach. This guy's like my older brother now. And we sit there and, when I was younger, he was like, Pat, you have to control this. You have to understand what this emotion is, where it's coming from, why you're feeling it, so that you can have better understanding of everything. And yeah, it did. It really, truly helped. And it allowed me to exceed in baseball because I was able to control those emotions. And then talking about it in therapy, my therapist was like, yeah, man, you know how to do it. You just have to get back to doing it again. And that's something like when you stop doing it, you have to relearn everything. And that was kind of where I was at that point. And I can guarantee you, anybody that you talk to prior to that time in my life would say that, I was very reactive. And afterwards now, I'm a lot calmer. Like, it's funny because there's, at work, there's times where I would get really frustrated with shit that was out of my control. And still to this day, there's people that are in our ops side of things that'll be like, oh shit, Pat's going to get pissed. And then about this. And then all of a sudden, like, they're calling me and telling me this and like, stay calm. It's going to be okay. Like, everything's going to be, I'm like, cool guys. Like, hey, I get it. It's out of our control. It is what it is. Here, we just got to move on from it and be better about it next time. Like, and they're like, wait, Pat, are you feeling okay?
Yeah, you all right? How's your temperature?
So,
I got that fucking thing back on.
All right.
Messing with the mic stand there.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
So, no worries.
All right, we'll get into our next one. Chastity. Rarely use Virani, but for health or offspring, never to dullness, weakness, or the injury of your own or others' piece of reputation.
In today's world, promiscuity no longer has the same weight as it had in the 17th century. Nonetheless, the virtue of being faithful and not using people for sex still stands. Franklin added this virtue to his list as he struggled with sex addiction for a long time and felt the need to keep himself in check. And that, Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
That's a recent example. And then, obviously, sex is great.
Sure.
But when it comes to hurting other people, obviously, or using people for it, like, that's terrible.
Sure.
And, I've always taken pride in the fact that I've always been in check in that aspect. I mean, for me, like, sex is great, but it's not like, there's got to be emotion tied to it for it to be really good.
Yeah.
So, like, the whole one night stand thing, like, I know a lot of guys that I played baseball with and stuff like that, but, like, proud to say that I've never had a one night stand.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things. Like, it's, I don't know, people can get really hurt by stuff like that or feel used. And especially with rape, like with the rape culture that's come about from all this. Like, I mean, it's like, come on, dudes, like,
it's fucked up.
Control yourself. Like, yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, I can't say that. I mean, I've been with the same woman for 13 years and been faithful the whole time. So, I mean, I don't have much to really say on this. Like, I can't empathize with anybody that's ever been unfaithful or whatever. Cause it's just like, I just don't understand how you could do that. No. Like, if you really feel that way, you need to have a conversation with your significant other and figure that out. But yeah, I don't know. This one, I definitely agree that this is a great virtue. So, and the last one,
we've already mentioned this.
Yeah,
one.
I was like, we already talked about this one, but humility, imitate Jesus and Socrates.
As a high achiever, Franklin also struggled with humility. Although he understood it, he frequently felt that he was not living up to it. Jesus and Socrates are the epitome of humility. So Benjamin Franklin set them up as a personal example for himself in his quest to maintain a humble demeanor. So yeah, we talked about this before, but yeah, be humble. That's it's very easy to be like, let success get to your head. And that's one of the things that I love about working with you and having become friends with you is, like, you're super successful, but you're one of the most humble people I know. And you and I have had this conversation a few times about certain things about our industry. And like being humble, and like one of the reasons why I enjoy working with you and gotten to know you better, like you're very successful at what you do. You're very, very good at what you do, but you are extremely humble, and that's not the case for a lot of people within this business, in this industry. And it's unfortunate, but
yeah, it's real easy to, kind of flaunt your success in this business.
Right.
I think you can kind of tell everybody how great you are, or you can talk about how many millions of dollars worth of real estate you sold. And, you can be average in this business and live a pretty good life and kind of flex
Right.
and do all the keeping up with the Joneses stuff we've talked
Right.
about, where you drive the big fancy car and go buy the big fancy house. But man, I don't know, man. I'm just a normal dude from South County,
Yeah.
man. I just like to work hard, and I
Right.
like to. I mean, fuck. I'm not. You know why I think I am humble is because I get my fucking ass kicked
right.
5 days a week.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I'm getting in the gym, and like I'm getting submitted by people that are way bigger and better
Right.
and stronger than me all the time. So I just constantly reminded that I am not shit.
Right.
So that's why, and I think that directly, would kind of, it rubs off into the real estate realm a
Right.
little bit too, just because I'm like, man, I know I'm not the biggest, baddest agent in town.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing this a couple of years. I'm decent at it. I've, made a great living doing it, but like, I know that I got more shit to learn for sure.
Right.
So I feel like I learned stuff on every deal, and I've gotten better with, as I've grown in this business, and I think I'm going to continue to get better. So
No doubt about that. Yeah. I mean, for me, growing up, with baseball and everything, like once I got to college and I was cocky.
sure.
I had that, had a really good baseball scholarship. I was talking to a lot of pro teams out of high school, had the opportunity to sign out of high school, a lot of things like that. And I came in with a little bit of cockiness to me, and I got humbled very, very quickly,
Believe it.
and so I learned from there. I'm like, dude, just keep your fucking mouth shut. Just, hey, you let your actions speak louder than your words.
For sure.
And I mean, it still carries on to this day. Like, honestly, like you won't see, like if you were to look through like the list of top producers in our region and things like that, you're not going to see my name on there, because everything I do is part of the team, and you're going to see my business partner's name. Like it's going to show up, even though the business goes in my name, but as I don't need that recognition. I like the people that are important know who I am. Anybody else, I don't need that.
Right.
It's just, and so I'm okay with flying under the radar, and it's one of those things. It's I don't know. It's just, you're not going to see me like I could every week, every month, posting top producer and stuff like that, but it's just not who I am. And maybe when I was in high school, I would have been all for it, but life humbles you and you learn quick. And that's the thing about this business is, be humble, I don't know. It's just
white belt mentality.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. Your beginner's mentality. I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to. I never think I know it all.
Right.
Like I don't care what it is.
Well, that's the thing is once you start and that was my problem was like I got to that point I was cocky and I stopped learning. And I think that's a problem when you're humble and and then like I'm constantly learning. I take an hour almost every day to try and learn something new within this business so I can be better.
That's awesome.
And if you get cocky, then you're taking that away from yourself. And that's not something that, like you always say, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I think in order for you to be able to have that mentality, you have to be humble. You can't be cocky, because once you're cocky, you feel like you've made it. You're not going to go anywhere. You're going to be right where you're at, or get worse, because you think you're the shit and you don't think I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think it's very, very important.
Agree, bro.
And couldn't have been a better last virtue to put on the list.
I agree.
So,
I think that's a good spot to end it.
Ben Franklin, you are a very wise human being.
There's a reason they put you on the $100 bill. Isn't he on the 100?
Is it the 100?
Yeah, the Benjamins.
Yeah, the Benjamins. All about the Benjamins.
All about the Benjamins. Yeah, he's on the 100. There's a reason they put you on the C note, baby.
Yeah.
Good old Benny Frank. All right, guys. Well, that'll conclude today's episode. Remember, tell a friend if you guys enjoyed the show. Like, subscribe. Also, Remember, this month in February, we are doing the book club, the 92...
How to talk to people and build relationships.
Yep.
92 tricks.
92 tricks.
For a better, successful relationship.
Thank you, Pat. Yes. Appreciate that. Remember to tell your friends, like, subscribe. We will see you guys on Thursday.
See you later.